All right, hey there, how's it going, PACG fans? I'm Jake at SupermanCasting. Wearing alongside me is Ben Juhadre Sorensen. We've been casting for you an amazing set of League of Legends this evening. We got 2 matches. We just completed our first full best of 3. It was a 2-0 in favor of Stanford over Colorado, but we're still going to stay on breaks. We're going to head right back to it because we're way ahead of schedule, like an hour and a half ahead of schedule because Stanford just blew that out of the water. After the break, which we're not quite sure how long it'll be, we're hoping it's only actually going to be another 20 minutes rather than waiting like another hour.
Yeah.
But just getting everybody together ahead of schedule takes a little bit of logistics.
Coordination.
So, yes. But we're going to take a short break. Hopefully not too long. We'll be right back. It'll be University of Utah versus University of Oregon. So we'll be back with more League of Legends action after an indefinite period, but definitely we'll be showing up at least by that scheduled time that you guys are so used to us having us be here for. So don't go anywhere. Grab a drink, though. Grab a snack. We'll be right back with more League of Legends action.
battles, no, we can't let them win. There's an evil inside, just looking way down below. And if I can't hold my breath, then I'm bound to become hollow. Can you say that I disappeared? Can you say that I wasn't there for you when you went into hiding on the front steps of your porch? And I reflected on the memories, but I put out that torch. Hey! But I put out that torch. You make me feel like home. You turn around, I feel the breeze over me. You watch your dreams unfold. Let it come around and let it breathe over me. It's time to go away into the light. I feel the calming energy. I see the darkness coming, and I'm calling you to help me set me free. I'm calling for you. I'm calling for you. I'm calling for you.
Throwing caution to the wind. I'll take a chance and let you in. Just take my hand and take me home tonight. We defeat all impossibilities. Yeah, you and me. We'll take our hearts and run free into the wild.
Welcome back to the broadcast this evening. Fellow gamers, we are very close to getting into that match early. Actually, I'm excited to say, once again, you're watching the Pacific Alliance of Collegiate Gamers Spring Tournament. I'm at SupermanCasting. My name's Jake Maury. Casting alongside me is Play-by-Play Paladin.
I'm Juhadre, Ben Sorensen. I'm really excited for this match as well.
Yeah, we've got University of Utah versus University of Oregon.
Yes, indeed we do. We see our score up here, match score. Oregon now at 1-1 with Utah at a 2-0, so a slight match score advantage here coming into this game. And we also see the stats from the last game we just watched, 1-3 on Colorado, 3-0 for Stanford. Utah looking to tie them up to be the top team in the group so that when they meet, it will be quite the clash of titans.
Yeah, it would be. Utah's done really strong. Every single 2-0 that they've had so far has been a 2-0.
Yeah,
I'm saying out of their 2-0 match score, it's now 4-0 game score. They've done really, really well.
Yes.
We would expect nothing less, right? They're in the postseason for Collegiate League of Legends,
Indeed.
so you would expect really good things. Though some of these other schools have been contesting or getting close to that postseason in Collegiate League of Legends as well. That doesn't mean that they actually run the same lineups even. So not always translating directly across. But speaking of lineups, you can see on your screen for Oregon in the top lane we have Bootless Triton. The guy never likes to build those boots. Might as well play Cassiopeia top lane. Bought with my support, trolling us with his name, playing jungle. Of course, HA spanking people in that mid lane. I would love to see more Corky from him.
Good stuff.
And then Nidalee One Trick, the 80 carry god with not Tanner, my favorite Janna player in the bottom lane.
And then over here for Utah, we have Swish running the top lane, Kraydon in the jungle, Soulrush in the mid, James, the star player, challenger player.
Absolutely.
With Toast on the support.
Yep. Just subbing in for Adam Josh is going to be toasting that bottom lane. Should be pretty good. I'm actually really excited for this matchup because the champion pools in the bottom lane overlap a lot more in Oregon versus Utah than I think it's fair to say they do for many of the other matchups we see in PACG, where Not Tanner and Toast both play just shield heal champions a lot. There's a little bit more on the side of initiation, especially if you have Adam Josh, but I'm talking about Toast.
Right.
Rakan would probably be the closest to initiation that Toast is used to playing. We've seen him play that and play it well. But then, of course, I expect to see Janna Lulu essentially out of Not Tanner here. But if it's not Tanner and it is Toast, then I expect the ban phase will show us if there's any sort of focus onto these, because the support matchup in the bottom lane should be one to watch.
Oh,
because
definitely.
Both of these teams like to have their 80 carries fed. Nidalee One Trick, he plays that Ezreal really well. He likes the skill shot champions, whereas James likes Peel and to play champions that scale extremely well. The Tristana, basically free win if they get that through the draft. Xayah, maybe even the Caitlyn.
Even the Sivir, we've seen
Sivir's pretty good,
amazing
yeah.
performances on the Sivir.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing for James is the ability to continue with the auto attacks. We've seen him play Ezreal, but he's not as good on it as he is on the other champions that can that have the attack speed and the higher crit AD as opposed to the spells being the sources of damage.
Yeah, but we'll have to see exactly what these two teams have planned for this draft. We are here into Champion Select. Again, this is game 1 of our second match of the evening, Oregon versus Utah. Man, the Ducks versus the Utes. We'll see which one gets hunted by who.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And again, we do have these awesome little graphic here with Sejuani and Gangplank as the top 2 bans in our season so far, with Virus and Lulu coming up really close.
Yeah, Lulu really strong. You and I have talked about how if the AD carry is really strong for your team, then banning out the Lulu can really make it more difficult for them to late game carry. The Lulu adding that extra power to say the Varus, the 3rd most ban, tied with the Lulu. And then, of course, Tristana basically ends up being that free win. Rakan going to get banned away from Not Tanner. Still fits within that champion pool, though. The Lulu, which we'll have to see if it remains to be banned. We'll see if it comes out from against Oregon or even against Host. I mean, that's just a strong champion overall. Looks like we're going to get into the last few bans. I imagine the Alistar... Okay, the Alistar ban is totally fine, really good. You don't want to give them those initiation tools. You want them to have to force Kratos to be the sole and only initiator. Because when that's the case, and there's not even clean levels of follow-up from the support role, then Utah struggles to decide... like, hands down, do we take this fight or not?
Right.
When they struggle to do that, they run into trouble. People get picked off on the wings.
Yeah, and that there is the main weakness of this team, is if Kratos is the only one to be that initiation and to be that front line, then you're right. They are a little bit confused. They don't have the hit points to go in. They're not quite as familiar with that style. But when you do have the Alistar on the bottom side, it makes it a lot easier to see. Usually it's Adam Josh playing it, jumping in and being that front line, and then the follow-up coming in from Kratos. And interesting here, the Caitlyn locked in first, as opposed to the Lulu, who was not banned in that first set. Strong champion, you mentioned it, that high auto attack damage. Earlier today we saw that come out for, I believe it was for Colorado, and getting those headshots on the turrets. Going to be really strong. But here we go. One of Kratos' staples, the Sejuani, that initiation, just like he likes to have.
Yeah, and it's a really good pick for Kratos. If it's not going to be the Jarvan, you want to see the Sejuani. Sejuani's slightly better there. You can see the #1 most banned champion in all of PACG. So no surprise that it makes it through if not banned. We'll see if they answer the Caitlyn with that Tristana that's still available, or if they decide they want to go for something else.
Ooh.
The Xayah pick is interesting to me because, yes, she scales beautifully, and she has a better matchup into the Caitlyn, but Tristana, man, I just feel like it's free win champ. Anytime James gets that Yordle, he just pops off.
Yeah, and I think that might be why he's picking the Xayah, maybe trying to get a little bit more professional practice on this champion to get it as polished as the Tristana.
That's fair.
Because he is very, very good. The Xayah, like you said, scales decently, is a very strong champion. James very good at it, so I think that's the idea, is getting that a little bit more screen time, a little bit more scrimming, and becoming harder to ban out.
Yeah, it should be really, really good. I'm excited for what we can imagine will come through for the support pick here for Toast. My prediction is going to be that when they do end up picking support, if it's now, if it's later, it will likely be... Well, actually, I can't make a prediction if they're not going to pick... Okay, so they don't pick it because I'm like, I don't know what's going to be left up banned.
Right.
So they do pick the Rise. Soul Rush, for Oregon, you got to be worried now.
Definitely. Soul Rush is an amazing mid laner.
He is great, and he does extremely well on control mages. Rise has catapulted into S+ tier. Like, I want to say there's nobody even in S tier like the Cassiopeia pick. All those, like, really good ones. Even Azir's kind of there right now. Orianna's still really, really good. Gets banned out this game, though. But, like, there's the S+ tier now on this particular patch, 8.4, because Rise is just so strong. They've buffed, essentially, his entire kit by buffing and changing and adapting all of these items for mid laners, the AP items. to have bonus mana pools, essentially, all of which will contribute to bonus damage for the Rise. And being able to go tier that builds into Archangels that gives you 20% CDR all in one item, that's just insane to me.
It is insane. It's amazing how many Rises we've seen come out of the ban phase when most mid laners picked it up a while ago when Faker made it, force the rework. And so it's interesting to keep seeing this popping out. And now let's take a look at these other bans here. We see 2 top lane bans against Bootless in the Gangplank and the Fiora, but then a support ban with Tom Kench being taken off the table. I like that because, and then the Janna. Janna is taken out as well. And I like that because in addition to not being quite as decisive on engages when Kraydon is the only one to engage, another flaw to Utah's team is James is very confident and sometimes puts himself into bad situations where Tom Kench and Janna are the most protective of those supports. So taking those out is an attempt to win that lane, but Nami a pretty good pick too.
Yeah, it's a very good pick. It still fits within that shield heal bottom lane archetype. Should do well to keep James here. Very, very safe. I like the choice for the Nami because Jarvan's engage, while it can be very quick, very sudden, take you by surprise, it's also very telegraphed.
Yes.
As soon as he's on your screen at all, especially if he's on vision before he starts moving, you know where he's ending up. You know he's going for whatever the maximum value cataclysm available to him is. That means you're landing your bubble every time.
Yes.
That means right after the bubble, your wave comes through. Tidal wave going to knock him up, keep him in place, and lock him in. Essentially, just lock him in place for what we would hope, if you're a University of Utah fan, for James to be able to reposition, get to safety, even if he's stuck in that cataclysm for some reason and cannot escape, for him to just spend that time DPSing down bot with my support. So, these drafts, the draft is now rounded out. You can see the full compositions on your screen right now as they'll trade, I'm sure, to reposition themselves into their proper roles. But, Ben, I'm really curious what you think about now this last pair of picks, the solo laners for Oregon. What do you think they do into their respective matches?
Sion and Trundle. So Sion has risen to be kind of the ultimate poke top laner, kind of replacing Jace and Gnar, which is a lot to do with the Roar of the Slayer combo with the Arcane Comet. The slow from the E from Sion is so high that it's a guaranteed almost hit with the Arcane Comet. So the poke and the damage coming out of that is actually pretty ludicrous. And then when you come up with the Trundle, I think it's just a sustain lane. He's going to heal for every minion that dies around him, any minion I should say. So I could think he's trying to just outlast. And then really there's a lot of really good engage potential for the Trundle with his frozen ground. He's going to move very, very quickly. And then the moment you see Sion ready to do that devastating smash, you just pillar him. And then that's on a small cooldown. You don't get knocked up. You get a chance to jump in there. He's going to be building a lot of resistances that Trundle can steal with his ultimate. So I think early on in the lane, Sion is going to have the push. Bootless is going to be able to push underneath the turret, but then with the chomp and the attack speed you get from the frozen terrain, I think Swish might just be able to stay even in the lane.
That's the hope, right?
Yeah.
That's the hope, that you should be able to get to the point where you can be relevant and show up for these team fights. I think the split push should be answerable by the Sion, but still in favor of the Trundle. Basically,
Definitely.
Sion will just say, I'm knocking you away, and I'm making sure you just don't stay right on to me. Basically, the Trundle should show up, as you mentioned, in the way that you mentioned, really strong in team fights, right? Really strong because, as you mentioned, steals the resistances, going to be tanky as all get out, should be the front line for all ages, short, of course, of maybe even Sejuani. Right? It depends
Yeah.
on how the early to mid game goes to lead into that, and if Trundle can actually make it to that point. Because if he falls behind, he doesn't even have split pressure. Because
No.
Scion's strong enough that if he's ahead, if Scion's ahead, if Trundle's so far behind, you could chase him down. You can catch him out. The Jarvan could just show up and lock him in place. You fight him down. It takes a while because Trundle's healing and, the ultimate, as you mentioned. But all the while, the good news is Cataclysm, Scion Ultimate, and the like, those will lock people down in kind of these AoE spaces. I think the idea is that Xerath will be the one to make sure that he gets those health bars low, makes the fights become chaotic because people aren't sure, do we continue to take this fight? Utah becomes maybe sporadic. And if that's the case, you can have the Caitlyn locking people down, bursting those headshots, getting those final last hits and kills, and maybe even chasing them down with just that more chase potential that the Karma brings. The shielding of the whole team can just make him run straight at you. You mentioned Sivir and Champion Select. Didn't come through for James, but the strength of Sivir comes from her ultimate. The ability to just have the whole team run at you. Karma can bring that from the support position very well, and I expect Not Tanner to play it extremely cleanly.
Well, and then that brings up other points. The Xerath and the Caitlyn are two of the longest range, respectively, in their roles.
Yes.
And so I think, especially with the Scion, the idea of the Roar of the Slayer as opposed to trying to set up with the Soul Furnace Shield or that devastating smash, you're trying to poke people out. And so a lot of what Oregon has here is to keep the distance between them and the Utes because of the amount of engage you get from the Sejuani and from a Trundle, and even with the Nami wave allowing that speed up to get up in there. Because the farther away you are from Xayah, the less likely you are to be rooted, which is another huge engage tool.
Yeah. So we'll be loading onto Summoner's Rift here. Again, this is going to be game 1 of our second match of the evening. This is week 4 of the Pacific Alliance of Collegiate Gamers League of Legends Spring Tournament. I'm really excited. This is University of Utah versus University of Oregon. The Ducks versus the Utes in the opposite order, of course. I keep doing that. I was watching some of our own VODs, some of our own broadcasts before.
Yeah.
And every time I say this team versus that team, then I say the mascots backwards.
Well,
Even though I know it in my brain and I'm saying it to represent who I know it's representing, because I say it in the opposite order, I realize it could be confusing if people don't know it.
But you were right. It is the Ducks on the blue
Yeah.
side versus the Utes.
But I said it's University of Utah versus Oregon.
Oh, I
The
see.
Ducks
I see
versus
what
the
you
Utes.
okay,
So it's
okay,
like
that's what you
yeah,
meant.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think people know what we're talking about, right? There's not a lot to get confused here. We are now on the Summoner's Rift, as you said, and I wonder where the first pressure is going to come. We did see just there with the panning of the Rift that is an Infernal Drake going to be spawning first. I wonder how much pressure these teams are going to put toward that, because Infernal Drake, especially when you have someone like a Trundle who is going to try and build more damage than tank, because you want to be able to steal the resistances from the Scion, from the Jarvan, I think that's going to be really, really important. And then also just the attack steroid you get from Nami, I think that's going to impact, the desire to pick up that Infernal Drake even further. And I think that's what they're doing. You see Sejuani starting on the red buff instead of on the bottom side, like the typical start you get nowadays with your 2 members. Ooh, but I think we have a little bit of a surprise here. A 3-man fight here, dodging out the Q. James now very low, gets ignited. Summoner heal is already burned, flashing away, but bot with my support flashes forward, gets first blood with the red buff damage and the bonus from his passive. Nice work from Oregon here.
Yeah, I mean, the surprise level 2 with red buff gank is really strong from Jarvan. Bot with my support, I guess that is his namesake, right? Like, he shows up bot with his support, with his AD carry, and they're able to get first blood, all summoner spells from James, too. That's really, really good. And it was only the flash ignite. Flash from Jarvan, ignite from Not Tanner. That's really, really strong.
It is. Now, the things we have to notice are, what did Utah do with that play? Because that's the important thing. Sejuani immediately goes in, takes the blue buff, takes the Gromp. No, sorry. Bot with my support ends up on taking the Gromp, because we see that they are both at 8 CS. But James is still relatively even on the CS numbers, going to be tied up here, but the wave is going to crash in. And a lot of that has to do with just the position of Oregon ganking there. They had the wave that crashed the turret first. And, very interesting to see such an aggressive early fight there. Great strategy. Like, they were so far out.
Yeah. I mean, when you play that far up, you're playing aggressively because it's level 1. You've got the Xayah. She's going to be stronger. And you think you're just totally fine to take that. But when the idea was already put in place, I'm sure it was already called for that was going to be the strategy to bring Jarvan there. It's deadly, right? It's deadly. It gets them first blood. Utah going to be a little bit behind now in both levels and overall gold. But you can see Jarvan here again. Remember, no summoner spells for James, but Nidalee One Trick is actually really unhealthy. Ignite is there.
Whoa.
That's just Toast getting a solo kill.
And so now we are in the 2v2. Bot with my support says no thank you. A nice bubble landed there. Aqua Prison into the feathers. And guess who else is here? It is Kraydon. James going to take a turret shot or two. Now they've got a massive wave here, and no one from Oregon is going to be there to pick it up. A nice turnaround after an unfortunate mishap at the beginning of the laning phase. I think okay, James is going to go back. I would rather see them try for this Infernal Drake. I think that that's a really good move. You're already ahead now, and that's what they do. Nice here from the Utah Utes. And, good on them. Being aware, watching Kraydon coming down. Vision is granted here. They pull the Drake out. I think they are going to go ahead and disengage. They don't want to fight with the roam there from Xerath.
Would have been really nice to get that early Infernal, but because it's so early and they don't really have items, you can see James finally picking up a couple long swords, and that's it. You're not going to be able to melt the dragon fast enough, especially when it's in vision. They back off smartly because not only was Jarvan close and maybe he could steal, he was down a level. Not only that, but Spanky was on his way. Xerath can poke you from range, and when you're down that low and in vision, that's really scary. So smart choice by University of Utah to not risk just donating kills and maybe even the dragon over to Oregon after what was a pretty good turn in the bottom lane. It was just that Nidalee One Trick way too low. It kind of gets baited by the idea of a gank for them.
For sure. And that's the problem. If you get too ahead too early, your confidence just goes through the roof. And especially when you make that play on the quality bot lane that is the University of Utah squad, that's got to feel good. And so just a little too far and not quite looking at your hit points. But now I want to talk about the top lane because this is going a lot further in Swish's favor than I thought was even possible. Sion has the range bonus. Oh, wow. And the damage there from Nidalee One Trick. There we see it again. James just a little too far forward.
All set up by Not Tanner. The AoE slow keeps him in place for the headshot comboing from Caitlyn. So really nice there from bottom lane of Oregon. But this is a gank. Kraydon's there, forces the flash.
And then the Aqua Prison is dodged out. Nice footwork there from Nidalee One Trick. Kraydon wanting to pressure the lane he just helped get ahead. And now an interesting thing here. Caitlyn decided to go with the Cull as opposed to the path that James went with the double longsword. What can we learn? I understand it's about the gold, right? But it gives you 0 damage added to what you have with that Doran's Blade. And so I wonder if that was the right... Maybe you pick up another Doran's Blade to get extra lifesteal and hit points. What do you think about that?
I think it's okay. We'll come back to it, I think, because it remains to be seen. It doesn't seem like a terrible pick. Doesn't seem like the smartest either. But I'm sure there's a plan. And so I'll trust them to give me more information as the game goes on. But, yeah, you mentioned that top lane. The numbers don't look as bad now. It's just going to be that's essentially one wave difference in favor of Swish. But he'll have teleport slightly before Bootless. We'll have to see if they decide to continue using teleport to have the pressure in top lane, or if they decide to look for a multi-man dive in the bottom lane. It's harder to dive a Xayah than it is a Caitlyn.
Yes, and especially with James and Toast being ahead in the levels here, they're going to hit 6 before Nidalee One Trick and Not Tanner. And that's important because the ultimate from Xayah is one of those key reasons why she's hard to gank. And same thing with Toast. The Nami ultimate is just huge. But now that's 2-3. They do not get the 3-feather root. Nice dodge there from James. He walked right on top of that trap, but it was still being placed. Nice understanding of how the spell works. That there is a cast timer on it. But now, after giving up the first blood, doing pretty well for themselves here on the bot side in James and Toast.
Yeah, he's like, I'll give you the appetizer, your cheese comes through, but I'm the one who's going to get the feast, as I'm already up a couple of waves in CS. This is James just showcasing his talent, coming back in.
Ooh.
But speaking of showcasing talent, mid lane, Bot with my support is not scared to continue doing these ganks for his team.
Oh, that stun was perfectly timed. HA Spanky dealing quite a bit of damage, and Xerath is level 8, which means he has an ultimate, but not going to go for it. Instead, we see that Xayah picks up a kill onto the Caitlyn on the bot side, and now Swish is going very strong there onto Bootless. Running out of mana, though, I think that's Trundle's biggest drawback, is because of the way he's built, you want to use the chomp, you want to use your steroids to get in there and wave clear and stay ahead here. He's, a wave and a couple ahead. Oh, but he's got to be careful because look at this gank here. He still has flash. There, he can dodge the knockup. He is flashing. He gets knocked up. He gets hit hard. That gank assist from Sion and Xerath was huge.
Yeah, and I want to do just a quick shout out there to Bot with my support. He's now got a lot of stuff for his team. He just got Soul Rush's flash in mid. He had already got first blood for his team. Now he shows up in top side. They're going to get first turret off of this, and he waited on that gank. He waited to make sure that the flash comes through first, and then after Swish can no longer dodge it out. He does the flag and drag combo. It's going to hopefully be answered. If you're a fan of University of Utah, you like this choice to try and answer on the edge here. Nice Glacial Prison. This is just to stall things out, but there's
I think it's going to be another kill. And Soul Rush runs out and gets the last auto attack there to secure the kill. And a little too close, I think, for not Tanner. But University of Utah, they do lose top lane champion and turret, but they do grab that first Infernal Drake and a kill to boot, putting them to 4-2. They are ahead by about 200 gold. That's another Aqua Prison into the ultimate, and Nidalee One Trick is slain by James, who is now on a killing spree. Good news there after such an abysmal beginning, getting caught by the jungler. And it looks like they're going to get the turret off of this. They've been doing so well here on the bot side that turret answered. They are now ahead about 2,000 gold. Pretty well done here by the Utah Utes squad. And we can see the CS advantage in the mid. It's about 15, so that's roughly a kill's worth of gold. Doing really well all across the map.
Yep. And that's going to hopefully catapult them into the mid game to give them those first item power spikes. Speaking of which, that is going to be the Essence Reaver has been completed for James. And that's really huge because it gives him that mana regeneration, essentially, from the critical strikes onto any target. And the CDR that comes through helps him to, catch people is what I want to say, even though he's an 80 carry. But this could be a fight in the mid lane getting bloody.
Soul Rush takes a lot of damage and nice engage from HH Spanky, but Toast is there to heal him up all nice with the Tide Colors Blessing. Right? Or is that when the attack steroid? I can't remember. But anyway, Soul Rush is healthy now. He did not have Flash, which was a really important reason why they decided to gank there. Sion roamed down, Jarvan was there, and now we're going to see James already up on the top side, ready to switch and move that 2v2 up to the top lane, but it looks like Oregon is a little late on that rotation.
Yes, slightly late. Luckily, they didn't lose anything terribly bad for it. Not yet, at least. But James and Toast are already here, and they have a pretty decently sized wave with reinforcements on the way. Looks like they will actually lose this top lane turret from a really healthy position. We'll see if this gets donated over to James. It will be split, the local gold between those bottom lane members. But you can see Not Tanner and Nidalee One Trick trying to answer on the bottom edge here, but their wave is dwindling. Okay, Trundle going to back off. maybe hoping to have Rai show up. This 2v2 actually would go relatively well for University of Utah if they decide to take it. They don't.
No, but he does get the wave clear. He heals up that damage because of how many minions died underneath the turret. And now Soul Rush is going to rush back up to the middle side and try and get that push because the rest of his team is up there. This 2v1 will be hard for Swish, but I think he can make it happen underneath the turret because now they have numbers advantage. There's no teleport for Nidalee, One Trick, and not Tanner, but there is for Swish. So let's see what happens here. Pull some feathers back and look to get inside track on yet another turret. They lose the bot side for the Utes, but doing really well here on this push.
Yeah, I like this. Bootless actually stopping 3 members, and they've been here for about a full minute and a half. That's a lot of time to commit to essentially just clear 2 waves.
Yeah, and, you know, slight mistake. Just the wave clear from Scion is actually a lot more than it looks like it would be. The minion that goes through, oops, spotted out. the minion that gets shoved with the Roar of the Slayer deals damage to everything it runs through.
Yep.
And then the Q plus the explosion of the Soul Furnace, it's a lot of wave clear for someone so tanky, and it's quite impressive to watch the Scion plays here. But
they Realm
Rift
Warp
Herald.
top? He's got to fall for this, shouldn't he? Like,
He is out a little far.
They don't have the vision like deep into that side of the jungle, but that's way far to play up if you're that Scion. That's pretty risky. I'm surprised they didn't go for it. Again, not quite enough vision, but still seems. Ooh, feels bad, man.
Yeah, missing the cannon.
Use that W, man. It's worth it. Or I believe.
Well,
it's
especially
E.
with the blue buff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason not to when you've got that blue buff. But now we can really see the break points here. The Essence Reaver plus a Zeal completed against the BF Sword and Zeal completed. James appears to be very far ahead. Completed item for Swish as well on the Trundle. He has the full Ravenous Hydra, but now it is answered in the Frozen Heart. I think a more expensive item anyway, but that's going to be really good. Going to stop a lot of Zaya's damage and Trundle, so he is a physical damage champion.
Yeah, and even Sejuani, though this is not the precision tree Sejuani that gives the bonus attack speed. Oh my goodness,
wow.
That is the Ludens damage, holy. But yeah, it stops the attack speed, right? And that's if he's in the fight, right? Because he is supposed to be the split pusher. You can't swap who's split pushing for Oregon. It has to be your one member with teleport, Bootless Triton. Whereas if University of Utah wants to, it can be Soul Rush who splits with his teleport, or even just with Realm Warp, and Swish who's with the team, depending on how they want to play it. Or, as they are doing so beautifully right now, the perfect 1v1, or 1-3-1, excuse me, misspoke. 1-3-1 split on the map. You can see Rise and Trundle shoving in those side waves while the 3 members hold mid. It's actually working out really well for them.
The wave clear on Zaya is one of the biggest boons to that pick. The fact that you can throw the feathers, then you get the spell that throws more feathers, you can suck them right back through and clear a whole wave, is kind of the saving grace right now with Rise on the bottom side. And, you know, Trundle doesn't have an amazing wave clear. He does have the AoE with his Hydra, but now that's another free Drake. Ooh.
Not in range
No,
either.
barely.
But
barely
close,
not in
and that was
range.
blind, so unless it was only
the
envisioned
scuttle
because
crab, right?
of the scuttle,
Yeah.
but it was very close.
Indeed. And so, you know, good attempt there from not Tanner wanting to try and stop it. But, you know, when your jungler's up on the top side of the map, and now it looks like Trundle might be getting caught out. Nami is in the wings and ready. James gets hit by that every single time. Swish makes it out okay. Probably a heal from to host there. But now, again, they have numbers advantage in the mid lane.
Okay, you mentioned the damage that James is getting hit by. Luckily, they have Ocean, so in between fights, he can heal it back up. But in fights, you got to worry. If you're a University of Utah fan, you're very worried about James living in these fights because it looks like he's building towards the Tabi as far as boots go. And that's good because it's basically going to be Scion and Jarvan who are running at you and getting on top of you and actually trying to damage you. You essentially stop 10% of the main burst from bot with my supports engage on you. You know, his passive damage can be really scary to deal with.
Interesting here. They do summon the Rift Herald first.
Yeah, I mean, you're just going to try and get the damage there. I think it was a little bit of a misplay because you don't have everybody in place to help with that push. hopefully this just gives extra pressure to Soul Rush once the other people leave this lane and they look back to that 1-3-1, because that's been working out so well for them. But once again, I want to mention about how James needs magic resist of some sort or lifesteal, or there just has to be 40 to 45% CDR on this Nami, and to focus her heals exclusively, essentially, onto James. Because if you get locked in the Cataclysm, you don't have flash to get out of there, you don't have your ultimate to dodge out a lot, then Spanky could just be a screen away, 2 screens away, and be looking to just hit you with all of his ultimate shots. And if you're taking that much damage from just a Q, the loot-ins, those shots of the ultimate, those are going to be way too much damage for James to deal with.
And now we are going to go into a pause, but it gives us a chance to talk about the split pushes, because Rye's really good. He's got the wave clear.
Yep.
When he gets the spell and he can spread it to the whole wave, he can 3-shot the wave.
Yeah.
Trundle able to match the Scion fighting there with the Ravenous Hydra. It's looking really good right now for Utah, who have really kind of come forward with their strategy, the amount of damage they have, getting the kills onto James and all of that. It's looking pretty good. But now what do you think Oregon can do in this situation? Because they're being pushed on all 3 sides.
Well, they're in trouble. They're down in gold. They're down in split pressure. Before I answer your question and give some idea as to what Oregon can try to do, I want to point out that when it comes to the split, which is the name of the game, right? The name of the game for University of Utah, I think their lane assignments are actually poor right now.
Okay.
Their 1-3-1 looks good. It does go in their favor because it can't really get matched that well just as a 1-3-1, right? Because you have essentially 2 teleports to 1. But I don't understand why it's not Rise being sent to pressure the Scion and force Scion to waste his time either rotating away from Rise to match the Trundle elsewhere, or just winning that. Because Rise is so strong right now. Highest CS in the game by a significant margin, like 3 waves over anyone else in the game, and he already has a kill for himself. He's so strong right now. He has his teleport, so he can split just fine. He has Realm Warp, so he can split just fine. Guess who doesn't have MR? Just a no magic mantle on Scion, no bonus health. He just has armor. He's stacking armor. That's all he's got. He'll have some bonus health from just killing minions and stacking up from his W, but not enough to deal with Rise's damage. I want to see a Rise matching or pressuring at the very least Bootless Triton. He's only got like 2k max health at this point. Rise do that in just a few combos.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to see that swap.
I can agree with that. I think that is really smart to point out. Another thing to point out is all of that armor that Bootless is building is just going to make Swish more tanky. No hit points there. I don't think Trundle steals hit points. He steals resistances. And
it will heal.
Yeah, it'll
over
heal
time,
over time. Yes,
and
for
deals
sure.
damage over time, but it's not like he immediately bursts some max health away or something.
No, definitely not. But Scion does physical damage. Jarvan does physical damage. Caitlyn does physical damage. Karma's in support mode right now. Even grabbing that Athene is going to reduce what damage she can do to be able to heal her team a little bit more. But then all you have is Xerath, and he's already covering that with that Spectre's Cowl. Just a lot, it's going to make Trundle near unkillable. But James gets hit with the knock-up there. Oh, but a whiffed ultimate. Bot with my support goes in with the Cataclysm. Flash from James. Stun onto Kraton, and the shutdown, too.
Oh my goodness, and Bot with my support actually lives because of Triumph.
Huge win there for Oregon, getting the pick, and no one going down on their side. Amazing play right there. Huge confidence as well, being the Jarvan so early in the game, not having as many tanky stats, but luckily for him, he did go Cinder Hulk on that enchant on the jungling guy.
Yes. Smarter choice. Ooh, we have Banner of Command from the top lane. He's been building that the whole time. And now it is here. It will be on, not a cannon minion. And it's not baroned out by any means.
No.
But it'll be difficult for them to clear because without Xayah there, it is really just auto attacks.
Oh, but Trundle deals a significant amount there. We saw that Chomp get about a third of its hit points as they take it out. But, that catch out there, we talked about it. James's positioning needs to improve a little bit. Otherwise, this is going to keep happening. And good news for Oregon fans. I mean, of the deaths, three kills for Oregon. 2 of them have been on that 80 carry that we keep saying is, in fact, the star of this team.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get too harsh because the call was clear. It was, we want to take this fight. It was James and Toast going into the jungle thinking that they could catch these people trying to recall. It was the Jarvan and the Karma together. But what seemed awkward to me is, if you recall, the Karma gets split and starts running towards Rise. She has Flash, but they don't turn onto Tanner at that moment. They try and chase the Jarvan. They use the ultimate on them instead of just saying, oh, he's running into our crowd control champion. Let's go kill him for free or force the flash. Then they try and turn onto this Jarvan, miss a few key spells, and kind of get themselves into trouble. And then that's when James kind of screwed, right?
Yeah, for sure. But now we're going to see more break points here. Another turret goes the way of Utah. Another Ocean Drake going the way of Utah. We can see 2 completed items on both James and on Soul Rush. Ardent Sensor now finished for Toast as well. Already upgraded into that Sightstone upgrade on the support item. They've got map pressure for sure.
And what time is it?
23 minutes,
It's 23 minutes, and you can see they're considering the Baron. They've got pretty good vision around here, but they haven't denied all of the vision elsewhere, so they need to do a little bit of that. You can see that they're trying to do precisely that at the moment, but it should take a little bit longer for them to become safe. You can see that ward that Toast is right on top of. Really nice placement there from whoever got it there. It probably was the Karma, not Tanner, doing a good job for his team, making sure that they won't be completely unaware. Ooh, nice. The walk through, no vision, comes through Fog of War just to smite away the Scuttle. That will delay Utah's strategy significantly. They do have the nice push on the bottom end of the map, but you can't exactly start the Baron without being out of vision unless everybody walked behind it and took the explosive plant over the wall.
That would
take
so
a lot
much
more
fun.
coordination than I think they have time to set up.
But now they, again, another turret. This is going to be turret number 5 for them unless they are routed here. Bot with my support is there. James dealing a lot of damage. Aggroing the minions with the auto attacks. Nice play there from not Tanner and Nidalee One Trick. Oh, trying to get it, but the backdoor bonus does save it. There's very minimal hit points here. I think 2 minions.
Well, they're looking to engage. You can see they pulled Sion away. Even though he has teleport, they're looking to start.
Ooh.
There's the ultimate. It's coming through.
It's not going to hit anybody there. No knock-up. Nice try. Blast plant over while Kraton uses his own Arctic Assault.
Yeah.
Nice disengage. And that's a key ultimate down with Trundle already in the base and Rise pressuring yet another tier 2.
Yep. And that's Trundle going to be taking this turret. That was what you had to go for. Is, do you think you can answer Trundle? No? Well, then we need you to do something over here. And that's what they tried to do. It just didn't work. Nice disengage from Utah. They're going to take this turret. On top of the base now being broken open, there'll be a blue buff probably being gifted over either to James or to Toast. Or Soul Rush. They're going to take the extra time. They have all the time.
Oh, they better hurry. The patience is wearing out on that buff. And there it goes. Soul Rush does pick that one up for himself. Sarah's Embrace finished. We saw it a minute or 2 ago, but that's huge for Rise.
Look at the farm numbers, right?
Massive.
This is James. James is the only one even close, I would say. Within 2 waves of the CS score here for Soul Rush, he's massive. It's been quiet because there hasn't been a lot of fights that have included Rise. He's been splitting really well. But once again, I want to see him continue to split. He's so strong and can probably escape most anything that can get on top of him. Oh. Jarvan has to land a knock-up, right, and have to do it like at perfect timing to keep Rise in place, or it has to be Sion there, essentially, locking Rise down. If you don't have them, then you can't stop Rise just realm roping to safety, right? And now that he's changed from teleport, he's got Ghost. I think he could probably take some 1v2s with the massive amounts of move speed and repositioning spells, all that kind of stuff. Shielding himself even make a huge difference. I want to see Rise being their win condition right now because he's just so strong and such a strong champion anyway. This is pretty scary. The red buff is there. Canceled that first auto attack. Oh my goodness!
That crit was huge. The ultimate does not land onto Nidalee One Trick, but you know, you just burned the 80 carries flash and heal for a couple of auto attacks and an ultimate. Massive win in terms of map pressure for the University of Utah. Unfortunate for Oregon, who just get caught practically with their pants down right there outside their side of the jungle.
Yeah, they have no vision of the Baron whatsoever. Notanner has been doing his darndest to try and secure as much vision as possible, try and make sure that they have vision, a line of scrimmage somewhere, but this looks to be a fight. There's Tidal Wave.
That is the start of the fight. Jarvan does get a great knockup, and instantly James is deleted. Kraydon is going to be the next target here. Bootless is ulted by Trundle. He wants to go in and kill Bootless himself. I think he should switch on to Nidalee, but now Swish not dealing nearly enough damage. Soul Rush is, though, but Oregon doing so much damage. Nidalee, one trick, almost gets one shot. Soul Rush pops the Seraph's Embrace. Notanner going to be taken low. Soul Rush gets slowed and killed. And that was a massive fight for Oregon.
Oh my goodness. There's going to be a quick pause here as there was a disconnect after that fight with Kraydon. You can see if Soul Rush can cast spells on people, he will kill them.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, that was so insane. Let's watch a quick replay during this pause, try and buy ourselves some time. Tidal Wave comes through, that's Toast's engage, but you can see the knockup into deletion. Spanky's damage on this Xerath is just way too much, even onto Kraydon, the tank, essentially. So much. And then Nidalee one trick just trying to DPS down. He can see that when Swish starts to walk away, he's going to be looking for the priority target. The call was there onto Rise. Toast's going to try and disengage. He waits until he has the safety to try and get around, but then Soul Rush kind of baits himself in here. Yes, look at that, 584 damage with the comboed Q there. Then he gets locked into place. It was trap into root, into knockup, into slows, and it just ends up being that he gets locked down. You have to recognize that that's available in 5v5 scenarios if you're Rise, but if you're not against multiple members, like the whole team, essentially, I think Rise just kills everybody who's there.
Oh, definitely.
You can see he lived for forever, essentially. Yes, there was some healing that came from Nami, but his Seraph's Embrace, just that health and mana pool, he's going to shield himself over and over and over again while really putting out pain. I think he should be splitting, forcing 2-3 members to try and come catch him, which they probably can't, and it's so free. I don't know why they're not doing it right now.
I think that they're waiting for him to scale up. He had the
scale. Okay, I get your point, but I'm going to cut you off and say he has almost 300 CS at 27.5 minutes. Death cap with he didn't have death cap for the fight. He had the parts of it, but he has death cap plus abyssal CDR. If he's not max CDR now, I'm not sure if you went into sorcery tree and got the extra 10%, but he's at minimum 20%, probably. Oh, excuse me. No, he is max. I forgot about Archangels. Now has 20%. So he is at max CDR, one way or another, and he has so much AP and damage. His wave clear is pretty much instant, and you saw the damage he could put out against champions, even 1v4 essentially. But this is really smart sneak here from Oregon. They're likely to secure this. Jarvan's
they just
not
might.
there with
Kraydon
the smite.
jumps forward, flashes forward with the smite, and then the bubble does land onto Nidalee one trick. James is here. Kraydon gets the kill onto Nidalee one trick. Unstoppable goes Bootless Triton to try and kill James. Now he and Kraydon are there on the chase. Bootless has to flash, but now Baron minions with Trundle on the inhibitor turret. What am I saying? The Nexus turrets. There's only one left. It is going to go down. I think Swish might have the damage. He's just going to try and end the game here. Pardon me. He needs to ult the Jarvan. He has, and he almost kills HH Spanky. Swish sacrificing himself, nearly living through the whole thing. I choked on my own excitement here. Here's going to be another inhibitor going down. Toast getting the nice Aqua Prison root after knockup, after everything. James gets the kill on the Toast gets the inhibitor. Wow! Utah turning that play around, and suddenly there was a realm warp. James and Toast still trying here. They go into the mid lane and they pick up another turret. Now James dodges out the first ult. 2 ults down, 3 are shot, and Bootless finally picks up the kill in the zombie form. But there is no base left for Oregon.
The base, it's like wide open.
They're chasing for the kills. I don't think that was the right way to go there. Soul Rush takes a nice hit, Kraydon as well. But their Nexus is exposed.
Yes.
There are no turrets there. You're missing 2 inhibitors, and there's still a Baron buff on 3 of these guys. Yeah, 2 of these guys, I stand corrected.
Yeah, it's just going to be the mid and jungle. Soul Rush and Kraydon are the last 2 remaining Baron buffs, which is going to be there for a while. Okay, there's something to be said about, like, oh, Baron throws. But I'll be honest, Oregon was smart to try.
Oh, definitely.
They just somehow didn't do it fast enough. They were out of vision. They were sneaking it. It was so close. It was literally last second Arctic Assault flat. I'm not sure if he had flash, but it was Arctic Assault over to barely get in range and smite it away at the last second. Yeah, I mean, that feels bad, man, because you can imagine that would have been Oregon's way back in it, but instead they lose pretty much their entire base. A Bear Nexus is alive. Here's that Baron steal just to show you guys exactly how it happened. This will be, yes, the flash over the wall. It is at 700, down to 300, and level 12 is going to be plenty of damage to take that down. Yeah. Oh, feels bad, man.
The Baron up with the Banner of Command. Siege Minion, I'd give it 4 hits. 1, 2, 3. Oh, I'm wrong.
4.
Definitely. It's going to be more like 6.
5.
But look at him defending this.
6.
And now the engage comes in. So
7.
much flashes forward. Nidalee one trick almost goes down. Bootless is killed. He is slowed.
Don't take down the cannon.
And they're just not even going to touch this thing. The Nexus turrets are down. They've got Baron buff. They've got the... Oh, wow.
1, 2,
that was
3.
crazy. And that is a win here for the University of Utah on the red side. Pretty convincing, I want to say, but a couple of hiccups here and there in the early mid-game.
Yeah, really nice from both these teams. I want to say this is a closer match than I expected.
Same.
Also took longer than I expected.
Yes.
Oregon's a pretty good team, but University of Utah has been unmatched thus far in PACG, and they've been doing well in Collegiate League of Legends over in ULaw as well. So I've always been expecting them to do very, very well, but they lost early. They kind of struggled mid, and it was honestly the Baron throw. Again, I put that in quotations because I wouldn't call it a throw, but the Baron that just opened up, cracked open the base, and you could see the split. Even if they weren't doing it the way I would like them to have, the split worked really, really well for Utah. There was zero answer. It was a struggle to answer Scion to Trundle. Trundle's still doing so much and having so much pressure, even though, like I said, there's not, like, you can't make Trundle scared of you, but you can wave clear.
Yeah.
And that's what I said it was going to look like. However, the Rise, nobody can answer him.
Definitely
And
not.
if you swap him over, then nobody can answer the Trundle, and that's how it ended up being, is Rise more either with his team or splitting on the other end. You send Trundle away, nobody can answer him, or nobody is answering him. He literally just, like, went from corner of the map bottom lane to, like, freight train all the way into the base just over the course of a few minutes.
Yeah, so he got the inner turret, he got the inhibitor turret, and then once they got the Baron, he did exactly that. He just went and took out both.
Wait, what was that? All right.
Which is actually more of a Scion type thing with his ultimate. And so maybe he was cosplaying, saying, "I'll show you how this is supposed to go."
That's a new skin we need. Conductor Scion, where he's wearing like the conductor hat, and then when he ultimates, he just turns into like some like super toy-looking choo-choo train. It could fit into the toy set. See, I'm even doing marketing here for Riot. Fits in the toy set with like Renekton toy and whatnot. There you go. Could be the next skin. We're going to take a very short break to get everybody into the lobby, get set up for our second game of our second match here this evening. Week 4 returns with more League of Legends action on PACG. We'll be right back after the break.
option two-way. I'll take a chance and let you in. Just take my hand and take me home tonight. We defeat all impossibilities. Yeah, you and me. We'll take our hearts and run free into the wild. Into the
And welcome back, college esports fans. My name is Jake at SupermanCasting. Maury, casting alongside me is my favorite play-by-play caster.
Oh my gosh, that actually makes me feel really good. I am Ben Juhadre Sorensen, for those of you unfamiliar with us here casting on the PACG. Good
Shouldn't
stuff.
be.
No,
You should know us by now.
Everyone should know us by now. We've been doing this for, we're in week 4 now.
Yes, we are.
Week 4 of 8 of the regular playing season of the PACG Spring. And it's going pretty well, I would have to say.
It
a lot
is.
of good teams showing up, a lot of good plays, a lot of good quality content for League of Legends on the collegiate level.
I've
excited.
been happy to notice that even when teams have not been at the level of, say, University of Utah, since they're the ones we're watching right now, and they're not undefeated, they're not doing spectacular every single game, that they're still putting their best foot forward, and they're
Yes.
still trying really hard. I love to see that. But I did just say, right? University of Utah is undefeated in game score, undefeated match score. They're looking to get another match win under their belt. They're 2-0 so far. Could bring them to 3-0. Could be really good. Stanford, too, though.
I believe Stanford is really close to that game record. I know that they're that match record. They are 3-0. And so this puts them, those two teams, Utah and Stanford, or Stanford and Utah if you want to go alphabetical, at the top of their group in the North Division.
It would be Utah ahead because Utah's undefeated in game score. There's 2 losses
that's
for
true.
Stanford.
That is true.
But yeah, let's take a quick look at this evening's match, right? We're going to get into game 2. This is Oregon versus University of Utah. What do we got for Oregon here?
We do have Bootless Triton in the top lane, bot with my support in the jungle, HH Spanky in the mid, Nidalee one trick on AD carry / marksman / bot, or Not Tanner in the support.
Yeah, and that's going to be University of Utah on red side. This is going to be, or excuse me, they should be on blue side for
this
game
game
two. Will be
yes.
swapped. I was just getting mixed up. Yes, they will be having blue side. It will be Swish in the top lane once again. Kraydon in the jungle. Kenya going to be subbed in for mid lane for Soul Rush, who was in game 1. Great Rise play. James still on the 80 carry, carrying out his team. Hopefully better play this time around because he got caught a few times. And then Toast still subbed in for that support.
And I'm liking what Utah's doing. They're getting all of their players a chance to be in. I was able to talk with the Utah coach, and Toast had a bit of a, I don't know the exact word, but let's call it a sabbatical, where he was away from the team for a little bit for schooling and personal things. And now he's going in, and now that they're in post-season for Collegiate LoL, getting a lot more screen time here in the PACG, and looking fantastic even.
Yeah.
Great work here, getting Kenya in and out. It's actually the most interesting subs is the play style between Kenya and Soul Rush, because it is very, very different. Kenya more at home on the more in the fight type of champions. He does better on Azir and the Victor that we've seen a couple times. Whereas Soul Rush is more at home on the longer range, the things like the Xerath. We've seen him do Aurelion Soul. Even I think we saw him play Syndra once, and yeah, the control mage. But I think that Kenya will be a good answer to H8 Spanky here. Even though Soul Rush performed magnificently, like you said, that Rise was amazing.
I wanted to see more from it. I wanted to see the Rise being a little bit scarier. He was scary, but you can wear scary outfits, scary makeup for Halloween, like put on a mask and everything, but if you sit at home on your couch and do nothing but play video games, nothing wrong with that in and of itself. But I'm just saying, you're not going to scare anyone. Nobody's going to be scared of you. The whole point of being scary, dressing up for Halloween, is go out scare people. I don't know why I'm talking about Halloween in freaking March, but
it is March.
It is that the Rise is so far ahead last game. Not going to be a matter this game, though, because it does get banned out. Answered. There's going to be the Xerath ban too. This is the Skarner, not going to be going over to Kraydon. That's okay, because last time we saw Skarner, he alt-tabbed and fed double buff.
Oh my gosh, why did you have to bring that up?
It was PogChamp is what it was.
So funny to watch that. I mean, feels bad, Kraydon, but yeah, that is what happened. He he tried to gank up top against a Nasus. It was against Colorado last week, and stayed underneath the turret. He just sat there. He didn't attack. He didn't shield. He didn't anything. And he ended up going down, giving double buffs over at level 2 or 3. It was pretty funny. But more important things here. The Gangplank's still banned out. And Rakan again banned by the University of Utah. They don't want to see it for Oregon. And then Caitlyn, actually, interestingly enough, Oregon bans the Caitlyn as their final ban here in the first phase. I wonder, have we even seen James play the Caitlyn? I know we've seen him play Tristana and Xayah and Ezreal and Sivir and Kog'Maw, but I don't know that we've seen him play Caitlyn.
I don't recall seeing it come through.
Neither do I. And so a couple interesting choices in there, but now let's see. The first lock-in is the Xayah again for James, showing really good mastery of the champion. Just let's hope he has a little bit better positioning this game, because where he was in some of those fights in the jungle, in the corridors, and positioning just so aggressively is actually what caused some of that lull in the mid-game.
Yeah, it really was. It looks like they're going to still prioritize the Xayah. Looks like you might be right about just like looking for the practice on that champion, because they had full selection of 80 carries barring the Caitlyn itself.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the Xayah that they first pick, so they want a lot of extra for this 80 carry. A lot of extra pressure in the bottom lane should come through then. Rakan was banned out by themselves, though. I wonder if that's because they knew they wanted to first pick Xayah and they didn't want to have the Rakan to play against. Because I feel like you force the Rakan to be either picked or banned away on the first rotation, and that might steal away from bot with my sport. You can steal away the Sejuani, take it back onto Kraydon once again. But I would like to see Jarvan coming through. You can see at the bottom of your screen there, most wins in PACG. Out of 27 games, a third of those have been victories.
Yeah.
For Jarvan.
But we do see the Zac lock in instead. Kraydon also very familiar with this champ. But I want to talk about the Vladimir right now for at least a little bit, because I believe that's a flex pick. Can be either up in the top lane for Bootless Triton or HH Spanky, which actually answered, I believe, with the Cassiopeia, hoping that it is in the mid lane. Cassiopeia going to do pretty decent there. She is also significantly buffed with the new interactions with the Mage itemization and the Seraph's Embrace, starting at 650 stacks of mana. Very, very strong. As is the Varus. We saw him in the top 4 of pick and ban, just interaction in general. Very strong champion here. Following up into phase number 2 of the bans, the Trundle is not playable by Swish.
I'm surprised at that ban.
So am I.
He did really well, and he took the base, right?
Yeah.
But that wasn't Trundle. That was just Swish, and University of Utah having the macro to do so. They had the 1-3-1 set up perfectly for basically the entirety of post-laning phase.
Yes.
And that's what netted them that kind of pressure. It wasn't, oh, we have some OP champion. The Rise was the OP champion, and you already banned that out. So, what are you hoping for out of top lane if you're Oregon, if you're banning away Trundle? Do you still want that Scion, and somehow you felt like it was stopped in its tracks in every capacity by this Trundle? Or do you have something else up your... I don't care. I don't care what there is on Oregon's mind. You need to focus down, like, your strategy. I'm not seeing a rhyme or reason here. Look, mid lane ban into jungle ban into AD carry ban into top lane ban into literally a ban per role.
Huh.
For Oregon. Whereas
not a whole lot of pinching there.
The same could be said for, like, there's 2 top lane bans, a mid and a bot, but that was these priority picks, and now they go and hammer in the top lane. There's a little bit more rhyme and reason to Utah's draft than to Oregon. Kind of makes me feel weird about it. Like, I'm not sure what Oregon's plan is with this draft at all. I'm at a loss, Jihadre.
So once they lock in, I think I know what the answer is going to be for Utah. When you ban out the Trundle, there has to be a split push option. So there is the Gianna. I think that that's really smart to put that on the Varus, being able to buff his attack damage, keep him safe. Queen of Peel, right? That's what Gianna is. But now I think that Utah might want to be picking up the Camille, because that is just as strong a split push option. Oh, hello. That's exciting. We'll talk about that in half a second here.
Okay.
But the Gnar and Fiora bans also lead me to believe that it will be Camille. I don't know how well she does into the Scion, which is probably going to be another lock-in for Oregon, but I think that that's going to be a really good answer, especially with someone as beefy as your tank in Zach, and also Blitzcrank is very durable with his passive.
Yeah, you definitely want a good split push who's a tank that you can follow up here. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the better choice. You steal it away from Oregon because it seems to be it's a strong pick overall, and it seems to be a comfort pick. But you did mention how Vladimir could be a flex pick. It turns out to be just that. Going to answer the sign on the top wave, and then it's going to be Spanky playing the Syndra in mid lane. Does pretty well against Cassiopeia. It's a tough matchup for both. But generally speaking, it's going to be okay and slightly in favor of Syndra during laning phase. And then team fights, they just play out very differently. So the points I want to talk about with this mid lane matchup is Spanky should be able to land stuns. Now there will be the cleanse for Kenya, so he can turn around and maybe like instantly turn around and ult and then chase him down, because that's the scary thing for Spanky if he's worried, and he should be, because if you don't land the stun, and especially if you don't land the slow too, then you will get chased down. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
what can you do? Nothing
I
as
don't think
Syndra.
you
You press R, and if you don't have enough damage, then you're just dead. You get chased down by everything, and it's already going to be hard enough as Syndra to make sure that you're not getting locked down by this massive engagey front line while simultaneously trying to track the one pick we're about to talk about. I'm sure of it. Blitzcrank hooks.
I'm loving it. Very
Very difficult. You can see there are 3 members that, if hooked by Blitzcrank, get instantly deleted, no questions asked, no doubt about it. That's going to be the Janna Varus bottom lane. So scary. Now, there's extra movement speed from Janna, and keep people kind of safe. But if you get hooked, you're done. Varus, Janna, definitely dead to a hook. And, of course, you're going to have to be so careful as this Syndra.
So one thing that I want to be able to see is Janna will have a split second to cast that Monsoon, not Maelstrom. I did call that wrong last time, but the Monsoon, after being grabbed by the Blitzcrank, if he goes for the knock-up right after, I think. I don't know the exact timings on that, but what I would like to see is the grab, ult for the silence, and then the knock-up to sort of extend that crowd control and really give James and Kenya a chance to burst out the Janna, and that will then cement them the fight.
Yeah, I'm very interested about this Blitzcrank play. First pick of PACG that we've seen of a Blitzcrank. Toast, I've never seen him play it in the past in anything I've casted or expected of his, but I'm excited for it. It looks to be a nice pick into this composition. Even if you pull a Vladimir, then you have Ignite as your summoner spell, so you can mitigate some of his healing. And even if he drops a 5-man ultimate, it'll have to be afterwards, and there's a very real possibility that you can have your team burst him out during the duration of, you said, it's that silence that can do a lot. There's so much crowd control that he can apply. And speaking of crowd control, I like that there's been some discussion back and forth amongst Blitzcrank players about whether or not you should be maxing Q or E first.
Interesting.
Or even E or W second, even if you're saying, well, you got to have the hook. So you go Q first, okay, fine. But then do you go W or E second? Some people are like, well, you always go W. You need the extra movement speed and all that kind of stuff. Get around the map, help clear wards, attack speed. It helps you play that support role. But I'm like, okay, but a knock-up on a nothing cooldown, essentially, when you have it at max rank and a lot of CDR, is pretty huge, especially when you're playing into melees. So maybe there's an argument against the E max second or even first against this current composition because there's only essentially one melee. 2 if you kind of count Vlad, since he has to be in there. But yeah, I think that's an interesting question. It's like, do you want more knockups or do you want more movement speed to get into position to use your hook correctly, even if you're already deciding that, yeah, hook is no questions asked, first max ability.
It is an interesting thought. I think it depends on how Utah wants to play it. Because if they grab someone, there's still a whole bunch of engage options. So like he's got Zach, you've got Sion, you have even Zaya able to throw out the Q, and because of that you throw out an auto attack and pull 3 feathers back. That's another route. Every single one of them has some sort of hard crowd control. And so I think the best pull ever would be to be able to grab Janna.
Yes.
Because then you just send all 4 members of your team in, and there's
no more disengage.
Exactly.
You kind of do have Varus ultimate, Sejuani ultimate, but that's not going to be it. Once again, I'm Jake at SupermanCasting Mori, casting alongside Ben, Johadre Sorensen. We're casting the Pacific Alliance of Collegiate Gamers. This is Week 4, Match 2, University of Utah versus your good old Ducks here, University of Oregon. And you can see a 5-man stack. This is Summoner's Rift, Game 2, coming your way. Should be exciting. 5-man stack versus 5-man stack.
Ooh.
Will we get a level 1 fight? This is so exciting. I'm literally on the edge of my seat, Johadre. Ooh, this is so scary. No vision for either team. This will likely be a phase check, though, if they walk past. Will this be bloody?
They are in, and all of the spells are down. James takes a bunch of damage, and now Bootless Triton is also in the front line. It looks like Bot with my support is going to go down first. First blood over to James. Bootless Triton has to flash, and now James flashes forward. The cell division there for Kraydon. Summoner heal cast to get movement speed forward. It looks like Kraydon does die. Nidalee One Trick picks that one up, and now Nidalee One Trick wants to kill Toast. That's a barrier, and a double kill for James. 3-1. What a trade at the beginning of the game.
Oh my goodness, Swish got 2 fully channeled Qs in that fight.
Holy
That's
cow.
so scary. And the damage, crowd control, that did work. Yes, that was Kraydon who fell, which means struggle for him because he's going to be slightly off kilter in the jungle behind his timers. A little worse for wear. But Bot with my support also falls in that fight. And unluckily for Kraydon, he also lost his passive, right? So it kind of dies twice. Luckily that baited, essentially, Oregon into staying a little bit longer, trying to take that fight. And that will be 3 kills to 1. Let's just watch that again, John.
I would love to watch that.
Okay, so look at this.
Oh my
that is nice burst damage onto University of Utah. But look, 4-man knockup with almost 150 damage on every member. There's the hook that comes through right after. Bot with my support will die to that last auto attack from James. And then look, James is just going to walk and chase. He's going to flash over the wall, try and answer. He's going to flash and chase after Bootless Triton. He'll get a kill over there. But then back over to the other side will just be the knock-up that came through onto 2 more members. You can see Nidalee One Trick is going to flash to try and chase after Toast.
Oh,
and
rip.
he almost gets it. 1, 2 more. Not sure if the next auto attack actually would have been enough, but the hook comes through to make sure that the next auto attack couldn't even come through. But look, 3-1, an advantage for sure. But where's that advantage?
It's all on the
all
Xayah.
on James, their star player on the Xayah that they first picked. He's going to come into lane, not just with Doran's and a refillable potion, so he doesn't have to spend more on that. Doran's refillable, Cole Longsword. He's already on the way to his first core item, and he's already got the Cole for extra health.
Ooh, Kenya flashes forward to get the kill there and goes down as a 1-for-1 trade, but I think that that's good.
Absolutely worth it. You die to red buff Sejuani. You have no summoner spells other than that flash, and even if you flash, you're so far up that bot with my support will just chase you down. So smart choice to just trade 1-for-1. Yes, it's slightly in favor of Oregon because they have the assist pool. But now that Kenya can at least answer with that, he's 1-1-3. He's got his tier. He's going to show back up.
Yeah, it's the double summoners for HH Spanky as well. And that's what's so important here is Cassiopeia versus the Syndra. We talked about it. That's a weird matchup. It's going to be just dependent on how the lane gets played, who's going to come ahead. But the heal instead of the cleanse, it's tough. It's a really tough choice because you have so much crowd control on the side of the Utah. But the Summoner heal burned, that just attests to just how great it was that Utah came out 3-1 on that last fight, because Summoner heal was used by HH Spanky. It is still available on Not Tanner, and that's good news. But yeah, good stuff coming out here.
The
Sejuani.
cleanse still makes sense to me. Because of the crowd control, and there is a lot of it, you mentioned, of the crowd control that is from Utah, I'll finish my point after this gank.
I know. I think we see them backing off here. And bot with my support going to take some time. It does decide to leave. Recognizes that they are envisioned. Continue your point, please. Oh, hello.
Well, point taken. Cleanse wouldn't do you really any good if you just get chased down. Once again, that's going to be if you don't land your stun, especially don't land the slow, there's no problem. Cassiopeia just going to run you down like freight train. But when it comes to the cleanse, just finishing my point, all of the crowd control essentially from University of Utah that could be put onto a Syndra is actually not really cleansable. Most of it is knockups, right?
Yes.
Or stuns that can come into, like the one stun here is that hook. But even if you cleanse it, you're repositioned. You can cleanse it and flash mid-pull now because you're no longer stunned. But still, one way or the other, ooh, that was close. One way or the other, it's not. The cleanse doesn't really offer you much.
Right.
So the cleanse really only going to help you from, say, Cassiopeia ult.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But then the other point we never really finished discussing was E or W max on max second on Blitzcrank. It's going to have to wait. There's a knockup. There's the stretching strike. A nice knockup from Janna, but it does not matter. But a pull from
Nice.
Toast. And that right there, I think you do max the W for the movement speed.
Yeah.
He is landing all of these, or if not landing them, getting really close. So I think getting the right position to grab is because of how much more crowd control Utah has. I think that is the better spell to grab, is the attack speed, movement speed boost. But now it looks like Kraton might go down. He is knocked back into the pass. But when my support and Not Tanner are going to try and get him. Taking aggro now is Toast. There's another kill onto James. Not Tanner is not long for this world, and Kenya roams down to get a kill of his own in the bot side. Nidalee One Trick does end up killing Kraton, and HH Spanky picks up Toast on the backside. Getting really scrappy here. People just wanting to fight and kill everybody. I'm loving it. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's crazy. 5-0-1 Xayah. Only 2 waves total of minions, short of perfect CS, too. Just pulling that stat out there for you. You could see now 2.2 thousand in favor of University of Utah, only 7 minutes in. And I want to say that gold lead is pretty much all on the 80 carry.
Yeah.
501 Zaya is so close to completing, already halfway done with Cole, and so close to completing Essence Reaver. 10 minutes. It's
Ooh.
Crazy, Juhadre.
It is indeed crazy. Just so far ahead right now. And this is more of what we needed to see coming out of James, because he is just so good at this game, able to do so much damage. Speaking of damage, Swish almost getting the kill there onto Bootless. Oh, but Hemoplay goes out. He has to ult away to make sure he does not get hit with another spell. The second half does deal the damage, and Swish is now safe. He is going to back. No teleport available, but it looks like another kill might be coming here. HH Spanky gets knocked up. He gets grabbed. Kenya throws down the ult. No, not the ult, sorry. Miasma, and gets ulted by HH Spanky. Bot with my support is there next. Summoner heal does not quite save Kraydon.
Oh,
the flash heal from James doesn't give him enough. Just chaos ensuing here on Summoner's Rift in game number 2.
Yeah, good guy Toast trying to gift over the kill on Spanky over to one of his carries, someone else, right? He doesn't want to steal that away. But because he doesn't deal damage, she lives long enough to kind of get away, right? She just like starts walking in the opposite direction. Heal comes through from Jenna. Then heal answered from Spanky to get a little bit more health, try and reposition. It actually takes James's flash to walk in and last hit. So yeah, it's a little bit of a mistake, but it makes you laugh because they're just trying to get as much possible gold onto specific members. You can see James now 6-0-1. Definitely has the gold to complete his item. He's really close to completing that Cole too. Once he does that, should be just fine. Snowball this lead into a quick win, barring of course disaster ensuing.
I think that a lot of this chaos has to do with the cheese pick that is the Blitzcrank. You know, it's so much fun to look at that. He's zoning them completely off of this, and James is freezing it. They can't get experience in this way, and it's all because Toast is Blitzcrank. No other explanation for it, and just zoning them off. It's so much fun. You get overconfident in your little dives underneath the turrets because you can just grab someone out from underneath. I think that's a lot to do with it. It's just so much silly in the pick in general. And like, not to say it's not a good strategic champion to pick, it's just the playstyle of Blitzcrank is silly.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's, do you land the hook? Yes, you're a god. Do you miss? You look really, really dumb.
Yeah.
Like, question mark pings get spammed. It's all that good stuff. Yeah. I mean, you mentioned the Blitzcrank doing well. Still, that Zaya, just massive, super, super strong. I mean, once again, that's an approximate 80% CS a score, I want to say, statistic there for the Zaya, whereas it's closer to 50% for Oregon's bottom lane. Italy One Trick really struggling to even stay relevant in the lane just to CS, let alone win some fights.
Yeah.
Lucky for him, he's only 2-2.
Yeah.
But that still feels real bad, man, when you're down 30 to 40 more creeps. Like, overall, the gold advantage there, even without the kill score, to be up 30 CS is to be up 2 kills.
Yeah, definitely. And so it's just unfortunate here that he is so far behind, but now, wow, that damage coming out of Sonic. He doesn't even have damage item. It's so silly how much he can deal right there, just demolishing that wave. But I think you're exactly right. That just does feel really bad. There's a grounded into a stun, trading that a little bit. But now we have the assassin squad of the Utah Utes. They're on the bottom side, running with Blitzcrank and the Zac. But we're continuing here in the mid lane, and it's pretty close. This little wave of minions here is going to make it so that Spanky is only 2 CS behind, 3-3 to the 3-2, so pretty even here in the mid lane. Exactly like you said, you know, it's hard to call this.
Yeah, it's a really volatile matchup.
Yeah, that's a really good word for it.
Certain. You can see Toast is here though. He says, "What? Close matchup? Let me change that for you. I'm going to show up mid lane." Doesn't actually put any extra pressure. The vision wasn't there, so could have looked for something, decides not to. They're going to secure first elemental of the game. 12 minutes in, that's going to be the Mountain Dragon. Going over to University of Utah. Again, we're in game 2, what looks to be the last game of this best of 3, it would seem. University of Utah up 2,000, 2,500, most of it here on James, in total gold. Only 12.5 minutes in, looking to get first turret too. We'll see if they donate that to James. I would love to see them do that. If you can get James to get solo gold on this.
No, it looks
yes.
like
Yes,
they are doing. They do.
Oh.
Oh, he was just barely too close. 375 to each of them, but that's still pretty important. Pretty impactful there. First turret, they got the first blood in that massive 3-for-1 fight at the beginning. But, man, this guy, 6-0-1. Scion ulting here. Burns the flash of Spanky. Now, are they going to go in on him? No, he is too durable here.
I don't think you should have flashed there. You saw, essentially, even if it wasn't perfectly envisioned, you have a pretty good idea as to what happens bottom lane. They take the turret. What are they going to do? First turret, you got a lot of gold. What are you going to do? Buy items.
Yeah.
So are you going to be mid lane? No. And you have vision on that side kind of anyway. Like,
you had bot with my support
right there. Why flash? You don't need to. And now you're down your flash, which is that like necessary spell, right? Because you can't get hooked or you lose.
Ooh.
You can't get picked off by anything else or
Here
you
comes
just
the
die.
movement speed. Grounded there. Bot with my support. He gets grabbed. He gets knocked up. He gets silenced. And all the damage is there. Kraydon picking that one up. Nice work from Toast and Kenya.
Yeah, I think it was a little greedy use of the Ignite there from Toast. I think you need to save that. When you're this far ahead, you're probably killing anyone who shows up and is out of position by any means, even the tankiest member, right? Hot with my support on the Sejuani. Supposed to be really tanky. But I think you save it so that someone like Bootless Triton can't turn fights, can't even show up in fights, can't make a difference because of that spell. But hopefully it'll come back off cooldown fast enough that that won't make the difference.
So this is actually not the first time. Probably every single time we see the first turret go down, Utah rotates to the top lane, and no one seems to be expecting it. Not one. Because, again, dodge for, it's ult for ult, but flash from Nidalee one trick. But no one ever does it. They don't switch. And so Utah just gets another unanswered turret. It's every single game. I wonder when people are going to start realizing that that's the play. You rotate. You take your 2v2 out to where there is standing gold. You have better pressure. There's a grab now onto Sejuani. Knock up into murder. James now godlike at 8 kills.
Knock up into murder. It's like a serial killer out there.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Man, look at that. That's supposed to be your tankiest member. He dies in the duration of the crowd control.
So
it's all
strong.
stackable. You pull him, you knock him up. All of that time while Swish is there channeling his knock up for max damage. He lands a knock up. And then if you're still alive, Kraydon could be like, do I jump on you?
Yeah.
Should I even ult you? Like there's so many more spells available to lock you down. And that's if you didn't get rooted by James. Like, just think about it. If you get hooked, you're done. You're
done.
just done.
You're done. Yeah, we've been talking about it the entire time. That pick, which, again, is why I think that in this particular case, because of how much more crowd control your team has to follow up on it, that's why you max the W. You don't need one more knock-up. You already have a knock-up and a knock-up and a knock-up and a grounded and a stun and a root. There's no need to max that and increase your damage there. Instead, you want the positioning tool to get you better pulls and better position to get that. And so far, it is netting them a 5,500 gold lead. They are 5 kills up, have a Drake, the 2 turrets to 0. Looking really good for these Utah boys.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking beautiful. They're up 6,000 gold. They're going to break now. The last outer turret, I'm sure, will happen here. There is bot with my support off to the wing.
Oh,
this
stun.
could be a huge fight.
Huge. Oh, it's just out of range. James does have flash.
What the?
He ults the ultimate from Spanky and dodges it out. Now Bootless Triton gets his ult plus the the Proto Belt, and now it looks like Swish might be the next one to go down. Nidalee one trick is in there. There's a silence from Toast. Bootless Triton has to flash, and no one has died. Wow, what a fight.
Yeah, James
Toast
lives.
He's going in. He wants to grab. No stun, he gets it, and there it is. Kraydon gets HH Spanky, and now they have priority on the turret. Do they? They don't have a wave. That's going to crash here. If they can clear the wave, they can have this turret. Janna trying to stop it with the Howling Gale.
Should be no wave clear, right?
Nope.
Varus can't really step up. He's got 200 health, has to go back. Not Tanner, yeah, he can throw the Howling Gale, but it can only do so much. Definitely not going to wave clear. Might stall for a little bit. But you can see, boom, there's the turret. They're going to be looking for the next one. This could be 4 turrets to 0 in very quick succession. James looking to be able to pick up more items on this next return to base. He's going to steal away the red buff. They might even look for the top lane here because they had the pressure.
They have a huge wave there. He's going to refresh his red buff, going to be able to deal extra damage to these minions and to the turret. It looks like HH Spanky wants to match it up there. And the whole of Oregon now heading up that direction. But look at the damage he's got.
You have to leave. Don't throw.
Leave now.
You don't have members, and ultimates will be back up for pretty much everyone shortly. Even though you got your friends coming up the wing out of vision, it's really risky to stay there. So I like the choice back off. There is Dragon on the table as well, and we're not quite 23 minutes in, but the Baron will be spawning in a minute and a half at the 20-minute mark. You could see the components are coming through for James. He's got completed rapid fire cannon, tier 2 boots now on top of his already really early Essence Reaver. You're normally used to seeing this 25 to 30 minutes in, right? You want to see this here from James if you are a fan. But let's watch that mid lane fight once again. James almost gets hit by that Glacial Prison.
Surprised
he gets down to half health and then boom, throws all of that out. Oh my goodness. And then this is my favorite part. Look at this. The ultimate from Zach. He's rooted in place as he starts channeling it. Brings over Bootless straight to James. He has to flash away.
It's gorgeous.
So feels bad, man. James like, dude, I just did so. I'm so good. I'm a god. No team, please. Right? And then, of course, there's not vision over here for James to do what he's hoping to with that red buff. He's still off the wing. Tries to blindly pick someone off. You can imagine if that was an Italy one trick instead of the Janna, that he would have gone down. So James really scary, even outside of vision, without vision of his own. And then HX Spanky gonna get spanked. Waiting for right in between the Q that comes through. Something I was thinking as I watched that happen is if you're a Blitzcrank there, you take the Q and then you know what is going to happen next. He's gonna either use W or E, and that will take a half second for him to actually cast those. So after a little delay after the Q is summoned, that's when they might turn around. And so that's when, even if you're going to get knocked back and stunned, you cast the Q so that it will pull them towards you while you're stunned. Great choice there by Toast. Which, here, we're back to live. This is down in the bottom edge of the map.
Flashes are burned. It looks like Toast might be the next one. He gets killed there. HH Spanky picks that one up. James now in trouble. The engage from Kraydon flash done by Nidalee one trick, but the damage from James is too much. Speaking of damage, HH Spanky does get the shutdown. It looks like Kraydon is only knocked into the passive form. Kenya almost makes it out of the brush. Swish is there. He gets a nice knock-up. Now Kenya wants to follow up with his damage. A nice Roar of the Slayer gets not 10 or super low, but they don't have minions. And HH Spanky is no slouch in terms of damage himself. Red buff or blue buff there going to help with his cooldown and mana regen as well. But, you know, on the top side, it looks like they might be able to try and at least pressure this turret. I don't think he can quite take it. It's late enough. I think he might be able to.
He's got a cannon minion.
Yeah.
It'll be close, but he could probably get it. His new wave is showing up behind him, too. But there's a fight in the bottom lane.
They're still at that turret up down there, aren't they?
Yeah, and you can see Spanky trying to put down the damage. The blue buff has timed out, so he's not going to have the same spam ability that you mentioned.
At bot with my support.
Kenya!
Just being shredded by that Cassiopeia damage. Blue turret does go down, but it looks like he might be caught there in the top side.
Rip.
James does indeed kill him. No Warmogs on Swish, so he's not going to be overly healthy, but I mean, he's Scion, man. He's got that Soul Furnace, he's got the shield. Ultimate from Kenya is available, but it doesn't matter because they're going to three-man the Baron. Earlier than my other predictions, 22 minutes is going to be roughly the timer here, and James, Toast, and Kraydon, man, they just take out that big purple worm, and now they're going to start the push.
I mean, to be fair, you say 23 minutes. They had, out of 23 minutes, then you would think okay, 23 minutes, take off 10% because of Mountain Drake.
All right.
Pretty much perfect. I'm going to give
there
it
it
to,
is.
once
Ugh.
again, the prophet here. It is Jihadre predicting the Barons left and right. What a god. But we are here now 22 and a half, not quite 23, but 22 and a half minutes in. The Barrett has just been taken by University of Utah. This is game 2 out of 3. This could be match point, and likely would be if University of Utah just plays to their advantages that they've accrued from themselves massively to this point. 8, 1, and 3, 3 core items, and now Magic Resist coming in for James. That star player, AD Carry, who's fed out of his mind right now. And I like the choice to build a little bit of Magic Resist because right now, the one problem he's been having has just been HX Banky, right? You see Syndra press R win game. It's kind of been working a little bit. He died a lot early, but he hasn't died in a while on this Syndra.
Not really.
And his damage has been nothing to scoff at by any means. There's not a banner of command. Righteous Glory was the choice instead, but this is a fight, and a nasty one at that.
Not Tanner does go low. Nidalee One Trick is slain by James, and now Kraydon is thrown into the turret by his own ultimate nonetheless. He does get the knock-up onto Bootless. They take him down. AJ Spanky gets grabbed and knocked down. Triple kill now for James. Flash forward for the slow. Kenya and Swish. They want to get the Quadra. One auto attack. There's the Quadra kill. Do they get the Penta? All of that crowd control. And the Penta kill for James on the Xayah. University of Utah are so far ahead. 13-1-3 on this AD carry. 19-9 in kills. They're going to break the base. They have the Baron buff. I think they win the game.
Oh, man. James and the team setting him up for success there. Not going to be a legendary kill. Right? You're not going to actually get that 6th one. Death timer's slightly too long, and the hook didn't come through. But that's going to be the second Nexus turret. The beautiful Penta to help them end it up. But here's going to be that hook. Oh, it goes wide.
It goes wide. Only 3 or so missed by Toast this game. And now the fight is on. Oregon is here, but James is godlike again. And all of the damage is going down here. Bot with my support gets knocked up, and all the damage coming from James. He gets another kill. Nidalee One Trick gets knocked up by Swish. But now the ultimate from HA Spanky does get the shutdown. Nidalee One Trick gets stunned, and there's the end of the game as the Nexus explodes. University of Utah making a quick 2-0.
Oh, man, that's so rough. I mean, Oregon, you can only play so well when 3 kills at level 1 go over to the star challenger player. Speaking of which, let's watch that Penta again. Look at this. He's stunned into the root, and he just throws about his ultimate, gets kind of knocked back by Janna. Then you can see he gets the last tick of damage from that red buff to get him the first kill. Then the flash comes through. Bootless Trend is going to try and chase him down, but he gets rooted. And then he's going to be low enough. James using the heal just to keep himself safe. The last crit is enough with the flash forward. And then you can see they're going for the chase. This will be the last little crit with the ease, the Feather Storm. Man, all of those feathers come through. That's going to be so much damage. And then they just wait a moment. One auto will do a 500 damage crit. And they'll lock down Bot with my support, who just came off the healing platform. And that will be another crit to come through. The pentakill! James, University of Utah's star AD carry, finishing the game strong with 15 kills.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And that is what we needed to see, right? We talked about it. The fall point of the University of Utah last game was James's positioning. He got caught a couple of places in the mid game, and it dropped them a little bit, but now perfect positioning, getting the pentakill, really, literally carrying. That's why they call it AD carry, because that guy, just everyone in the backpack, it was great.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so easy to carry when you got, like, what, some camelback stuff, right? You're
okay,
equipped, right? You can see his items are way out of the curve. And then when you have the skill to match those items, you know how aggressive you can be, too, and you could just melt people. You saw so many times where it looked like maybe if he didn't have those items, that the fights would have gone pretty bad.
I
just getting
agree
hit
with
by
you
myself.
entirely.
So maybe I want to backtrack on, you know, what his skill is right now. He's playing a little sloppy. But when you have that level of damage, you're just going to melt people's faces off. So,
Definitely.
Oh, man.
But
Beauty to watch.
Props to Oregon.
Yep.
They put up great fights. Like you said, were those items not there? If he didn't get that triple kill at the very beginning of the game to allow him the cull to get the extra gold per 100 minions and the cash in afterward, without that, I don't think we would have seen the 22-minute 3-item finish.
Yeah.
That was
man.
insane.
Yeah.
But
the Nexus explodes at 24.5 minutes when you have 15 kills. 3 more assists will say you're involved in 18 kills. That means every, what is that, minute and a half? Every minute and a half, you're involved in a kill. Wouldn't that be nice? Every 3 waves, somebody dies near you and you get kill credit in some way, shape, or form. I wish I could have games like that in my solo queue even.
I think everyone wishes that. But it's fantastic showing here. The crowd control, the team play, the routing on the map, just everything, macro, micro, team fight, split, all of it looked really, really good from Utah here.
Yeah, I'm super excited. And you can see now the match score has been updated. This is what you just saw if you joined us today, and thank you for doing so if you did. That's Colorado falling to 1-3, unfortunately, and that's going to be Stanford with a nice 3-0. The sleeping, dark horse team, right? It's pretty good. And then Oregon 1-2. They just fell to that record. 3-0 Utah. They're undefeated to match that Stanford team. Man, super exciting. And more exciting for me as a caster, for us as casters, I'm sure you join me in this, and I'm excited for you viewers because look at that. The 2 undefeated teams, wouldn't it be great to see them go head-to-head?
Well, guess what?
Next game that we cast will be it, and that's going to be on Wednesday for the Pacific Alliance of Collegiate Gamers Spring Tournament. It's going to be Stanford versus... Oh, excuse me. That's going to be Monday. I misspoke. But it is coming up very soon, and it will be one to watch closely. It's like so cool to see that, but it's exciting to see that happen.
And we discussed a little bit earlier. It is a single round robin with a total of 6 games. So when we're coming up, we've done half of the matches now. Yeah. Almost every team has done 3 to 4 games.
Yeah.
And so we're coming on that halfway point. This is where we're going to really see where all the teams are, and. Yeah, like we said, Monday we're going to see the North Division again. I believe Wednesday we're going to be seeing some of the South Division playing.
Yeah, it'll be UCLA versus Washington State University.
Now that's going to be a great game.
Should be close.
We've seen UCLA once, and their star player also 80 carry.
Yep.
Also
Tristana
player and everything like that, but. It's going to be amazing to watch that as well because this is only going to be their second game, whereas Washington State, I believe it's going to be their third. And so it's going to be another way to see who are the top teams in the South.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. So once again, this has been the Pacific Alliance of Collegiate Gamers Spring Tournament of League of Legends. Mondays and Wednesdays is when you can join us for League of Legends as the featured title. Tuesdays are going to be Overwatch with Hearthstone on Thursdays to fill in those gaps. And then Fridays, Rocket League for those of you who love to see some of that rocketeering.
It's
crazy
so much
soccer
fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, let's just join us for every broadcast that you're interested in. Those titles are really fun for those who play them. And even if you just enjoy them as spectator sport, there's no reason not to. I don't play traditional sports anymore, but I still enjoy watching every so often, right? So even if you don't play, join us for those broadcasts. That'll be, again, Overwatch tomorrow starting at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's our local time here in Salt Lake City. And, of course, for those of you on the Pacific West Coast, that's going to be 6 p.m. is when all of our broadcasts begin every weeknight, Monday through Friday, just different titles. Of course, follow social media for the updates and to know which teams are going to be playing on which titles leading up to those broadcasts. Once again, this has been Jake at SupermanCasting Mori, casting alongside Ben Johadri. You can catch me on social media by the handle at SupermanCasting, Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, SupermanCasting.com. I'd love to connect with you.
Johadri on all those same platforms, except I don't have a website. I'm not that famous yet, but yet I hope to be. Hook up with me on those social media sites, and maybe we can make the dream happen.
Yeah, thanks again for joining us, and thanks again to all of our volunteer staff donating their time, being here with smiles and excitement, getting some great broadcasts to you, good broadcast content. And, of course, if you want to check out replays and whatnot of previous games, previous matches, and previous broadcasts, you can always check out, hit that follow button, hit the subscribe too if you're a member of like Twitch Prime, if you just happen to, or you're like your parents or someone, like your best friend has Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime, you can sign up for that Twitch Prime, which is essentially a free subscribe, and we'd love to have you join us for this channel, and that can unlock all of those VODs for you to review, or just Google them on YouTube, you can get them there. Yeah, we're excited, and I'm so excited to be halfway through this season, coming into that next half. We'd love for you to join us tomorrow for Overwatch, and then Wednesday is going to be more League of Legends action with Johadri and I. We'll join you then. Until then, good night.